Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Liz, YouTube business coach, and in today's video, I really wanted to talk to you about the importance of belief in your coaching business. So I'm just going to riff on this a bit. I feel like the theme of this month is really going to be the importance of belief in your coaching business and wanting to see the results that you're looking for and magnifying your income results. And I really needed to make this video because it's important for all of you overthinkers out there, you formerly straight A students. You're attached to the rules, and I understand. I get it because I too was someone who was just always attached to the rules. I needed the step by step. Tell me the procedure that I need to follow so that I can start a business, get clients in, and start seeing success, and I will follow it to a T consistently without fail. And the funny thing is, I never really thought of myself as a side hustler, someone who would actually just keep pushing through to until I get results. And for many of you, you may not feel that way about yourself too. It may just seem like, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to approach this like I approach everything else in my life, from school to work to how I interacted with people and institutions. This is what you're supposed to do. This is the expectation, so I'm just going to do it. But there really is like an insidious layer of like hustle mentality in that, pushing through consistently, doing what you think is expected of you, hoping to get a result without actually sitting back to stop and wonder, well, why aren't I seeing the results that I'm looking for in my business? And how this came up for me was I am very active in creating community and Instagram and things like that. And so I have a lot of business besties. And for some of my business besties, I love them dearly. They're creating great things in this world. But I was noticing that they seem to have been having much more success in their business than I was. And it seemed to have been coming much more much more easily for them. So I would post multiple times a week, do all the things, check off all the boxes, and still hear crickets in my DMs, hear crickets in my email list, but they would struggle to get a single post up. And then once they finally got it posted, bam, just like that, made a sale like it was nothing. And I would be lying to you if I did not feel some type of way about seeing this. And if you identify as someone who is good at following the rules to get results, then you're definitely experiencing this too. I know you're seeing this around you. You're seeing people who are accelerating and moving forward in their business, and it seems like things just come so much easier for them. It feels like you have to work much harder than everyone else. And to be perfectly frank, if you're a Black woman, a woman of color, you kind of just feel like that just comes with the territory. Like, oh, I just got to work harder than everybody else. I got to work twice as hard to get half as much. It's just how the cookie crumbles in this world. But to be honest, when you see other women of color who are just kind of showing up whenever they feel like it and seeing results and you're not, it can really make you feel some type of way, because then it's like, okay, well then what the hell is the problem here? What's wrong with me, right? And the problem is belief. And I know, belief just seems like this overused cookie cutter concept. Everyone just talks on and on and on about how you gotta believe in yourself. It's like, you remember that Parappa Rappa video game, I think from like back in the 90s, where it's just like, up, you gotta believe. Like, it seems like this idea that's just made for, children or people who just, have their head in the clouds. They don't understand the practicality of how things are supposed to work, how things actually work, right? But, and I'm here to tell you this because it's super important that you understand this so that you can really start to see change in your coaching business, is that it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to break through that, what feels like an invisible barrier between you and your clients, the people that you are meant to serve, if you cannot figure out belief. belief in not just the idea of what you want to create, the idea of having a business, of doing business differently, of doing an anti-capitalist business, of decolonizing, of making all this huge change in this world that's desperately needed. You can't just believe in that, because those are great. Those are ideals. Those are excellent things to believe in that you should believe in. But you can't use belief in that to substitute belief in yourself. This was something that I definitely did not understand when I was first starting in my business journey. Because as someone who also identifies as someone who growing up found school very easy, found studying and learning very easy, enjoyed studying and learning, as many of us do. But for those of us who know that we are good at learning new things and applying new things, we always surrender our power to that process, to that idea of, oh, if you just learn it, then you can do it and you'll be fine. But in the midst of that, you forget to believe in just you as a human being on this earth, your ability to be able to help someone, your ability to not only transform someone else's life, but to transform your own. And what I feel definitely happens is that for folks who typically had maybe a rougher time in school, if you weren't someone who often got straight A's or really good grades, if you were someone where school was just always difficult for you, if following the rules in any way, shape, or form was always difficult for you, not to say that's a bad thing, because a lot of the rules that are created in this world, as we know, are patriarchy, white supremacy, the whole 9 yards. If you're someone who just was not able to put to your trust in that process, then you really don't develop this idea that that is the path to your success. You make ways out of no way for yourself. And through that process, you inevitably build belief in yourself. And so when you finally do decide to show up, you show up big and you make it happen, because just even pushing through the barrier of just even trying in and of itself has so much belief in yourself attached to it that you create your results. But for the rest of us, if you are someone who's just used to just following the rules and doing what you think is expected of you, you expect to get the same result. But the problem is that you leave yourself out of the equation. And you know how I know you do this? I know you do this because I know I did this, because in spaces, especially in spaces that were predominantly white spaces where you never felt comfortable, never felt like you could fully show up as yourself, always had to code switch, you always disconnected yourself from the work that you had to do. If you had to learn all this shit about, European history or whatever, anything that just did not interest you, you learn how to detach yourself from it, to just learn it as a set of facts that you needed to regurgitate to get to the next level, and just keep going in that process until you could get to the next step. Not just get to the next step, but just so you could at least get by. You know what I mean? It's a very different ball game when it's my results appeasing this authority. Being able to show that I'm smart not only gets me to the next level, but also ensures my safety. When you're used to doing that, you automatically sort of detach yourself from this learning process, and you assume that everything you need is outside of you. But in actuality, everything you need is inside of you. And yes, there are some foundational principles that you cannot skip, but there aren't that many when it comes to having your own business and to gaining the income you want and signing the clients and attracting the clients and creating a community that you know will impact this world. There aren't too many actual rules to it, just a few basic foundational principles. And you can get as creative as fuck with them as you want. But you have to get back into the habit of including yourself in them. Get back into the habit of making sure that your foundational belief and everything that you create has you intertwined with it. All that you are, all of your identities, all of your flaws, make them front and center. That is where your power lies. And it's so important that you get belief down, because otherwise you will just keep creating content, keep showing up, and burn yourself out because you won't see the results that you're looking for. These aren't boxes you have to check. You have to just show up in your full self and in your full power. And that only happens when you believe at your core what you're capable of and who you can help and the lives that you can transform. And this is hard. This isn't easy stuff, right? You have to be able to get into literally the trenches of your mind, right? Like deep into that trenches. Like when I'm thinking about the trenches in your mind, I'm thinking like, imagine a war. Like it's raining, it's downpouring, there's mud everywhere. You're just in this trench and you have one rope and you gotta just keep climbing up this rope to get out of that trench. And it's so hard because it's slippery, you can't see, it's, shit's happening all over the place because life's happening all over the place. It's crazy. But every day that you choose to ground yourself in the belief in what you can do and who you are, not even just what you can do, but just who you are, you take it one step at a time. You're climbing up that rope one grip at a time to get to your results, to get to your vision, because it's 100% obtainable to you. I know you're probably thinking, oh, I know what I want, but, am I dreaming too big? Am I thinking too much? Like, how can I make this practical? How can I figure out how I can get there? How can I figure out the steps I can take to get there? No. Believe that you can create the future that you want and stop worrying about the how. And I know it's hard. I know it's so hard because we are so, like, coming up with the how just is so easy for us. It's like, oh, it could be this way or it could be that way. But then the problem is that you keep realizing that all the different possibilities that you created in your mind just aren't happening. And then when things finally do happen, they happen in a completely different way than you could possibly imagine. So start opening your mind to the possibility that where you want to go, you can get there, but it won't be anywhere near how you actually imagined. And that's okay. That's life. That's good. But before I end this video, I just want to remind you to ground yourself in your power. Like, get still with your mind. Develop practices and tools. I show my clients how to do this to help ground yourself back into your belief, into who you are at your core, and then create your content from there. Make your offers from that place, because that is such a powerful place. And that place is greater than any YouTube outline you could come up with. It's greater than any pretty graphic you could design or any catchy phrase you can come up with. Your power is what will take you there. Your belief is what will take you there. So, get comfortable with that. Let me know in the comments below if you found this helpful. I could talk about belief all day because I seriously want to make sure that, especially for all of my overthinkers out there, for all of the people who have just been used to just following the rules and they're trying this entrepreneurship thing, but it's still not working, I just really, really want you to understand belief, not just as this concept, but really how it connects to you, at your core. Like, belief for me is like a physical feeling. Like, when we think about belief, we're thinking about this idea, but no, belief in your core is a physical feeling. I mean, think about if you were a religious person. Back in the day, I was a religious person, and I I grew up in the church for most of my life. So I have 20 plus years of social conditioning about church and religion and spirituality in that sense. And when you're ingrained so deep into that, you feel your belief. You physically feel it as a feeling, right? And it's so ingrained and so hard to even let go of some of those things because I've just been in the church for so long. And I'm even thinking about like that Lil Nas X video, the one that everyone was kind of losing their minds about. So in this video, if you're not familiar with it, if you're living under a rock, he depicts a lot of different things that were typically, seen by people who are Christians as like demonic and all this other stuff. And even at this place in my life and in my journey where I really learned to kind of, not throw out the baby with the bathwater when it comes to the different things that I've learned over time and in my life. And understanding that, a lot of these ideas that I were originally taught, they aren't really as helpful as I had originally thought. They weren't, they had a lot of like homophobia attached to it, a lot of issues attached to it, right? And so even as I'm watching this video and I am just really enjoying it, it's a great piece of art. It's incredible. I could still feel like a little twinge of like, looking at, the depictions of the demonic things in there, and I still felt in there like a little tiny twinge of like, oh, that's scary, that's bad. But even though I know in my head that, it's just not that big of a deal. So that's just an example. And think back to your own experiences, like the things where you kind of you've been conditioned to believe something in your core. And that's why doing new things is scary. That's why doing something different, starting your own business, it's terrifying. Because you've just been conditioned all your life that the 9 to 5 is where you gotta go. Getting your degree is what you gotta do. Just keep getting more and more education and getting into more and more amounts of debt because you just believe that with more education, you can get to where you want to go. That's complicated. We'll save that for another discussion. But, you still feel that belief in your core. But do you feel this same feeling? Do you feel that belief in your core about you? About what you can do for people? How you can help them? Do you feel that when you're making your content and creating your offers? Probably not. You're probably on autopilot. And that's one of the worst things that you can do for your business. So, in June, I have spots available for one-on-one coaching. We're going to get you out of autopilot, get you connected to full belief in yourself and what you have to offer so that you can literally blow your own mind with how you hit your income goals for the rest of this year. Use the link in the description box below to apply. If you have any questions, I'm on Instagram at the other Liz Walker pretty much most of the week. So if you are at all unsure, definitely check me out over there and send me any questions that you have. Because for all of my overthinkers, my former straight A students, I feel you. I feel your pain. I feel your plight. And you can have what you're looking for in this world. You can reach your income goals. You can sign clients if you just hop over this belief. We got to deep dive into it. We got to get into the trenches to figure this out because I don't want you to keep creating content on autopilot, look back, and feel like it was all for nothing or give up. Don't do that. So, thank you so much for watching. And now that we've started this discussion about belief, we can also talk about how uncertainty with entrepreneurship is completely and 100% normal. So when you couple that, just knowing the uncertainty of entrepreneurship and then coupling that with belief, it'll literally be a game changer for your business. So check out that video next, and I'll see you there. Bye.